You are listening to Lesson 3, Chapter 2 of Form 5 World History. Cameroon General Education. Narrated by Wacheseh Academy. The United Nations Organization. Aims: to maintain international peace, security, and avoid wars. To develop friendly relations among nations. To achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of all aspects on. To promote respect for human liberties without restriction to race, sex, language, and religion. To provide a forum for members to meet and harmonize their actions, so as to achieve common goals. Indented to provide respect for international laws. To help trust territories towards independence. To advance the welfare of all people. Principles of the UNO. All members shall fulfill in good faith the obligations assumed by them in accordance with the present Charter. All members shall settle their disputes by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace and security and justice are not endangered. All members shall remain in their international relations from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. All members give the UNO the assistance it needs. It ensures that states which are not members of the UNO act in accordance with its principles so far as the need arises. How the UNO was organized to maintain peace. General Assembly Legislative Organ. Each member is represented there by providing the chance for general debate on matters affecting world peace such as international aggression, problems of disarmament, terrorism, etc. It elects non-permanent members of the Security Council, an organ in charge of handling international disputes. It elects the Secretary General, the highest official in the UNO. It was empowered in 1950 after the passing of the Uniting for Peace resolution to make decisions that had been obstructed by the use of the veto in the Security Council. 6 official languages are used, namely English, French, Russian, Chinese, Spanish, and Arabic. It takes decisions based on the principle of the majority. Security Council Executive Organ. It has permanent and non-permanent members. Permanent seats reserved for the great powers because of their military and economic power, vital for enforcing peace and security. The permanent members are the USA, USSR, Britain, France, and nationalist China, until 1971 when the USA lifted her to and communist China was admitted. The non-permanent members were 6, but increased to 10 in August 1965. The Council is in charge of handling international crises affecting peace, such as international aggression, border conflicts, problems of weapons of mass destruction, genocide, international terrorism. It could impose either diplomatic or economic or military sanctions on an aggressor. It could station a peacekeeping force in the disputed areas and strange ceasefire, etc. The 5 major members enjoyed veto power. The Secretariat Administrative Organ. It has international civil servants mostly, and is headed by peace and security matters, and is headed by Secretary General provided by the Small and Neutral Actions Mediation. The Secretary General is empowered to undertake diplomatic missions and prevent conflicts, assist the International Court of Justice to convince disputing parties to accept the verdict of the court in advance. The organ in charge of translation, interpretation, keeping of records, informs the Security Council on matters affecting peace. International Court of Justice Judicial Organ. Comprising 15 judges of different nationalities representing the different legal systems in the world. This makes it easier for the UN to handle legal problems all over the world. It is also in charge of matters arising from the interpretation of treaties and conventions. It advises the Security Council on legal matters. The Economic and Social Council. It encouraged international cooperation in solving problems of health, education, poverty, starvation, etc. In order to increase economic and social standards of living and remove the causes of conflict and promote peace in the world. The Trusteeship Council ensures proper administration of the trust territory towards self-government peacefully. It sent visiting missions to the trust territories, received reports from both the administrative authority and the people, and ensure good administration of the territory to avoid conflict. Main failures of the UNO. UNO failed to provide peace in the Arab-Israeli wars and the Palestinian autonomy problem. The solution was provided to a larger extent by the Camp David Peace Agreement of March 1979, which led to the establishment of diplomatic relations between Israel and Egypt, the return of Sinai to Egypt by Israel, trade and cultural exchanges between Egypt and Israel. It was the Bill Clinton Peace Plan of 1993 which helped to solve the Palestinian problem. It failed to provide lasting peace between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. UN could not organize a plebiscite because India rejected it. Kashmir is a source of problems between India and Pakistan. Failed to punish USSR when she invited Hungary in 1956, Czechoslovakia in 1968, and Afghanistan in 1979. Failed to punish the USA from mobilizing her allies in March 2003 to overthrow Saddam Hussein in Iraq on the pretext that Iraq was keeping weapons of mass destruction and none were ever found. UNO has been unsuccessful in promoting respect for human rights in most third world countries. Weakness of the UNO, also its decline. Veto rights enjoyed by the 5 permanent members have been using to defend their national interest, rather than UNO. The growth of many rival international and regional organizations, competing with the United Nations in promoting peace and development. Members attach more importance to them. African more loyal to the African Union, Arabs to the Arab League, Europeans to the European Union, etc. The large influx of third world countries with their economic and social problems to the UNO, and their inability to pay their dues makes it difficult for the UNO to function properly. More important issues are being discussed outside the UNO, for example SALT I and II INF etc. on arms control, Camp David Agreement on the Middle East crisis, etc. The ideological differences between the communist and non-communist, democratic and non-democratic countries, misunderstanding between the third world and the developed countries, creating disunity in the UNO. The UN members in the General Assembly prefer to vote in solidarity rather than on merit, making it difficult for the UN to handle crises such as the problem of